guys, and thank you so much for joining in this video. My name is Haley, the Lucid Mystic, and today I'm going to show you how you can easily induce sleep paralysis, and then I'm going to give you a lucid dreaming technique and an astral projection technique that you can use once you're in sleep paralysis. So first, let's get into sleep paralysis and how to induce it. Sleep paralysis happens mostly during our REM or rapid eye movement stage of sleep, which occurs roughly every 90 minutes of sleep. During sleep paralysis, your body paralyzes itself when dreaming to prevent the body from physically acting out your dreams. Sometimes you will wake up before the muscular paralysis turns off, causing you to dream while awake. If you can keep your mind conscious as your body falls asleep, you can go directly into a lucid dream or an out-of-body experience. Sleep paralysis is completely safe and can be cultivated for easy access to amazing experiences every single night. And these are a few common sleep paralysis symptoms that you may experience when inducing sleep paralysis. A buzzing, vibrating sensation. It is common to feel your physical body tingle, vibrate, or even slightly move during this state. Just like you may experience sensations when your foot falls asleep, it can feel like this on your entire body in sleep paralysis. Hallucinations and dream images. Since we are half awake and half dreaming, we are in a thought-responsive state, which means our emotions and expectations will create our experience. Knowing you are completely safe and have control will bring you ease during this experience. I actually always find this state enjoyable, and it really does depend on your emotional state, so it's important to stay calm during this state and use your mind and imagination to create the experiences and the dreams that you want to have. Another symptom is non-physical sounds. Since we are half dreaming, we will hear sounds around us that aren't actually happening in our physical environment, but it can feel extremely real. So if you get scared, don't panic and just relax. This process is completely natural. You also might experience a slight pressure on the chest. Our diaphragm naturally collapses slightly when we are in sleep paralysis because we don't need to take in as much air when we sleep. Our thoughts create our experience, so if you act fearful or you feel fear, you may experience other causes for this feeling in your hallucination, so it's very important to stay calm and grounded and stay focused with your thought and intention. Sleep paralysis can make people uncomfortable if you don't really know what's happening, but once you know the sleep paralysis symptoms and you know that these things are completely natural, you'll get used to this process and be able to use it as stepping stones to inducing a lucid dream or an out-of-body experience at will. So here is how you induce sleep paralysis. The first thing I'd recommend is waking up in REM. This is usually after about 4.5 hours of sleep, 6 hours of sleep, or 2 hours before you normally wake up. You're usually going into REM sleep every 90 minutes, and your REM stages get longer as the night progresses, so play around with the time, and if you wake up directly out of a dream, that is a good sign that you are in REM sleep, and that would be a good time to do this technique to induce sleep paralysis. The goal is to put your body to sleep while your mind is awake, so you want to make sure you are comfortable enough to drift off into a light sleep, or at least a very relaxed, dreamy, hypnotic state. Comfort is extremely important in this technique, but you also want to have a sliver of awareness if you can. That is why this technique is most effective in REM, during naps, or after at least a little bit of sleep. However, it is possible for sleep paralysis to be induced after being awake with no prior rest, but it is a little bit more difficult. The best time to try to induce sleep paralysis is after about 6 hours of sleep or 2 hours before you normally wake up. These should be your longest REM stages, but again, if you wake up directly out of a dream, that is a sign that you are in REM, and this technique will work at that time as well. So once you wake up in REM, you want to stay for about 5 to 10 minutes, and then you want to lay back down on your back and try to hold still after taking a few deep breaths and completely relax your breathing. You can take a few deep breaths initially to get comfortable, but if you are taking deep breaths the entire time during this technique, your body will know that you are not asleep, so it will be hard to reach sleep paralysis. Our body naturally breathes a little bit more shallow during sleep, so let this process happen on its own. Holding still is also important because we want our body to assume we are asleep, which will help us reach sleep paralysis much easier. Try to find a fixed point to look at behind your closed eyes. One very helpful pointer is to practice this in a dark room or with a sleeping mask on. This will help the body produce melatonin naturally, making it easier for your body to fall asleep. After you've been laying there for a little bit, you should start to see colors under your closed eyes, and that is called hypnagogic imagery. And next, you're going to run into the rollover signal. This happens when your body tries to check if you are awake, sending you urges to move or roll over. You also may experience intense itches, making it very hard to hold still. These are not real itches or urges, it is just how your body determines if you're awake or not based on how you respond. It can be challenging at first, but if we can ignore these signals and remain holding still, our body will assume we are asleep since we didn't respond to these signals, and you will feel the symptoms of sleep paralysis start to kick in. The most common sensations you may experience first is light tingling all over the body, accompanied with some high-pitched buzzing noises. The symptoms slightly vary for everyone, but you will know when you are in sleep paralysis. Once you're in sleep paralysis, you can start using it to induce a lucid dream or an out-of-body experience at will. So first, let's get into how to induce a lucid dream from sleep paralysis. Once you start to see the colors behind your closed eyes and feel the symptoms of sleep paralysis, your body is getting ready for sleep and producing dream content. Since you are conscious throughout this process, you will be able to influence the dream or experience that is being created just by your thoughts. Practice creating a dream scene in your mind with as much detail as possible. If you see any images or pictures appear, use those in your visualization and imagine engaging with them. For example, if you saw an image of a wooden fence or something that just passed by your vision as you're laying there, imagine what it would feel like to touch the fence with as much detail as possible. This will help you stay conscious as the dream is being created, and if you can make this visualization as real as possible consistently, it will start to form into a fully lucid dream that you'll be able to interact with. You basically want to hold on to any visualizations that you see and start imagining engaging with them using all of your senses. You basically want to make these visualizations and these random images you're seeing so real that your brain actually thinks that they're real experiences, and you'll basically get pulled in to the visualization. So for example, if you're seeing a beach or you're trying to imagine a beach during this technique, you want to imagine being there with all of your senses. What would you hear? What would you smell? What would you taste? What would you touch? You really want to engage fully with your imagination as much as you can. If you're seeing random images, if you're not even creating an image, for example, the wooden fence, it just like pops up. The reason why I use the wooden fence is because that happened to me one time. I was just meditating, trying to induce a lucid dream. Then all of a sudden, this like image of this wooden fence popped up. And so I started to imagine engaging with the wooden fence, like what the wooden fence would feel like on my fingers, what it would sound like for me to run my hand across the wooden fence. And that actually got me lucid. I imagined that visualization so clearly that I actually got pulled into that visualization, and it created a lucid dream. So whatever visual you are seeing, whether it randomly pops up in your vision or you're trying to create it with your mind to induce a lucid dream, just imagine engaging with it using all of your senses. Now let's get into one of the techniques to induce an out-of-body experience from sleep paralysis. Once you consciously feel sleep paralysis and see colors flowing in and out of your vision, you're ready to start your induction technique. Try to focus on the visualization and sensation of leaving your physical body. You can do this easily by imagining what it would feel like to slip out of your bed or wherever you are laying down for this technique. If you are laying on your bed for this technique, imagine what it would feel like to slip out of your bed as vividly as possible. What would it feel like sensationally? What do you have in your physical environment that you would see when getting out of bed? With strong visualization and sensation within this imagination, your brain will start to assume it is real, and your awareness will switch to your energy body, causing you to actually feel the movement of slipping out of your bed and possibly seeing through your closed eyes or sleeping mask. This is a great indication that you have switched your perception or awareness into your energy body. So as I'm in sleep paralysis and I'm laying there, I'm imagining what it would feel like to be out of my physical body. So what it would look like to be looking out from a different perception. So not where your physical body is, but from a different point of view. So for example, you can imagine standing in the other side of your room. Do you have a bookcase over there? What textures are over there? What colors? What would you see? What would it look like if you were standing on the other side of the room? That's basically what you want to imagine as vividly as you can during this technique. You can also go into the other room before you even do this technique and really look at the textures and the objects and just observe your living room or your kitchen or wherever you want to kind of go in your out-of-body experience. You basically want to create an imagination or a visual of a specific place so vividly that your awareness actually switches to that location, and that's one of the ways you can have an out-of-body experience. William Buhlman calls this the target technique. It's choosing a specific target that's away from your physical body and visualizing it so visual with so much detail consistently that you actually start to appear there, and it feels kind of dreamy at first, and then it clears up and you're actually out of your body where you were imagining. So one of my favorite ways is to imagine rolling out of my body, just slipping out of my body and making that as real as possible. What would that feel like exactly? Or I can imagine another place that is in my house or close to me that is away from my physical body, such as, my living room or the kitchen or another bedroom or wherever you want to visualize. So either imagine leaving your physical body by rolling out, or choose a target is what I would recommend. You must remain focused on this visualization and the feeling you would have as if it was actually happening and you were actually at that location. You literally have to will yourself out of your physical body by imagining it as vividly as you can. Once you feel yourself slipping out of bed physically, you must remain calm and continue to direct your experience with thought and intention around your environment. That's basically how you move around in the out-of-body experience, is by thought, intention, and expectation. So when you appear at your location or when you feel yourself slipping out of your body, try to use your expectation and intention to move yourself around your experience. It may take you a couple out-of-body experiences to get the hang of moving around, because it is like walking for the first time kind of during your first out-of-body experience, but just keep this practice up, especially visualizing another area of your home or imagining being somewhere your physical body is not. That's probably the most helpful thing that I can tell you when it comes to inducing an out-of-body experience. It's basically tricking your mind to think you're somewhere that you're not until your perception actually moves to that area. So I hope that makes sense. Alright guys, and that is all for this video. Thank you so much for joining. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and if you want to learn how to induce lucid dreams or out-of-body experiences in 30 days or less, make sure to check out my lucid dreaming course and my new course Beyond Lucidity for advanced lucid dreaming practices and astral travel. Also make sure to check out the Patreon if you want to support this channel. That will be in the description below, and I will see you next time. And as always, I'm sending you endless love and endless lucidity.